Welcome to this week's Facebook Live. It's based always on this week's blog, so if you do want to check it out, the blog, as always, I will leave a link to it in the description, so you can go check it and read it in full. And also, always within the blogs, there are links out to other blogs you might find helpful, podcasts you might find helpful, and other videos you might find helpful. So, go and check those out. So let's get on with it. I'm talking about sleep this week, and I'm going to give you one tip for an effective night's sleep. Simple tip, keep it simple. We're still on New Year, kind of. I know we're coming up on February now, but still on New Year and looking at changing habits, changing goals, maybe looking at New Year's resolutions. Maybe you've already packed in those New Year's resolutions. Not unusual, very common. In fact, about 80% will have done that by now. So maybe you're looking for simpler ways. So maybe something like this might help you. Tips, small step that you can do around your sleep. So, sleep is a major issue. A lot of people don't realize that it is such a big issue. About 60% of people in Ireland don't get enough sleep. And I have to say, if you want to improve your sleep, you have to make it a priority. So that actually would be the first tip. I give you. There's two in this, but if you want to improve your sleep, you have to make it a priority. I always make sleep one of the basics of self-care. It's on your. I've talked about these a few weeks ago. What's on your basic self-care list? Sleep is up near the top. Um, and you really do need it. We need between 7 and 9 hours sleep as adults. As children and teens, we need more, and I've done a video on that if you want to check it out. No one, absolutely no one, can function really effectively on less than 6 hours sleep. So you have to be very careful. There can be multiple reasons why we're not sleeping, and this is always, as I say, look at awareness. Why am I sleeping? What's causing my sleep problems? So there can be multiple issues here, like stress. If you're stressed, doesn't matter whether it's family, and stress can creep up on us so easily and we don't realize we're stressed. It could be family, something to do with work. It could be something minor that's niggling at you, but you don't realize it and it's stressing you. Financial pressures can also cause sleep issues. Overuse of technology, big issue. Pain, if you're in constant pain. Parenting and pregnancy, particularly around babies, toddlers, or even if you're worrying about a teenager. I've been there anyway. It's a difficult time. So it's not just when they're small, they can cause you problems when they're bigger too. And pregnancy, if you're uncomfortable with that. Or if your partner's not sleeping because they're pregnant, it can be a difficult time. Work-related pressures, as I said, college or school pressures. A lot of people in Ireland are starting their mocks for the leaving certificate at the moment. Disability, mental health issues. It's a big list. It just goes on and on and on and on as to why we might be having problems with sleep. But the effects of sleep deprivation are well researched. The effects on the mind and the body. It's not just about your mind, but also your body. We have higher risks of developing physical and mental health conditions if we are not getting enough sleep. And if we continue to not get enough sleep, what happens is our body then enters what we call crisis mode. It's basically survival time. Your body and mind thinks that you're back surviving something. You're in an emergency, and it's survival time, and the body will send messages to the brain going, crisis time, crisis time. We need to survive this. So it's really important that you do get a good night's sleep. So things like blood pressure, heart rate. Even if you have stress, if you're not getting enough sleep, it makes the cycle worse. You get more stress. Your anxiety will get worse if you're not getting enough sleep. And some people don't sleep when they have anxiety or depression. Anger levels all increases. You're greater risk of developing something like type 2 diabetes, endocrine or metabolic rate issues. So all of that needs to be looked at. Then we have issues, even if you're not to that extreme, if that you've started to develop physical conditions because of it, or mental health conditions because of it. If you are even just at the start, you get those, mid-afternoon slumps, which we can all get, particularly if you haven't had a good night's sleep. Then you crave the caffeine. Your concentration levels are decreasing, your productivity is decreasing, increased levels of accidents and injuries with sleep deprivation. In fact, the RSA in Ireland have said that, most road deaths occur because of sleep deprivation, not because of alcoholism or alcohol issues, consumption issues. It's because of sleep deprivation. So it's a really big one for injuries and accidents. We're also not getting, we're trying to get stuff done, but we're sleep deprived, and then we're foregoing sleep, and it's creating a vicious cycle because we're craving the caffeine, we're craving the sugary stuff, and then it's then causing issues with the sleep. Okay, because caffeine will turn off adenosine, which you need for the sleep hunger drive. You need that to rise during the day, and it turns it off like turning off a tap. So you're not getting enough. You're creating a vicious cycle. Okay, so you need to make it a priority. Say, okay, what's going on here? What can I look at? Can I look at my caffeine consumption? Can I try and just get myself over the hump for a few days until I can break this negative cycle? I've entered into this vicious cycle of more caffeine and less sleep. There is this kind of myth out there that people think, oh sure, I'll catch up with my sleep on the weekends. No, it doesn't work. It actually doesn't work like that. It's not advisable that you try to do that. It won't reverse the effects of sleep deprivation on cognitive functions in particular, or on your body. And it can actually introduce further problems into your body clock, the main sleep hunger drive body clock, very quickly, and then has a knock-on effect to all the other body clocks that we have in our system. So, trying to catch up on that sleep at the weekends is not going to do it. It can take many, many days, in fact, to get your sleep back on track if you've even missed just 1 hour, 1 hour of sleep. So that's all the bad news. Okay, it's important you're aware of it, because if we're not aware of it, we can't change it, as I say. So one tip, other than making it a priority, if you want to change it, you have to make it a priority. One tip for this week would be to reduce the blue light. And this is all to do with electronics. I'm not saying to you, take away the electronics, okay? All I'm asking you to do is think about how you use them. Because the electronics have a blue light, and you mightn't realize that the blue light is there, but your eyes are still picking up, your brain is still picking it up. So your TV, your tablet, your computer, your phones, your laptops, anything with a screen, our brain is very susceptible to this blue light. And what it happens is it stops the production of melatonin, and you want that melatonin level to rise. Just like I said about, the sleep hunger drive, like rising during the day, we also need it to drop at a certain time and melatonin to have built so it kicks in and we fall asleep. But, if we're using the blue lights from our electronics, then it causes issues with the melatonin. And then we're not getting enough sleep, we're not falling asleep enough in time to get enough sleep. And then it's having a knock-on effect to the rest of the circadian rhythms, as I said, not just the wake-sleep cycle one. It's having a knock-on effect to all the other circadian rhythms, and therefore, our brain and our body just doesn't function properly. So think about this. Think about, well, how are you using these electronic devices? Think about dimming the lights, even turning off the main light, maybe using a side light instead, and cutting out the electronics. Now, I did say you didn't have to cut them out altogether. What I mean by this is you cut them out during the wind down period before you go to bed. That's about an hour before you actually want to sleep. And it's a good idea. I've talked about sleep and how important it is to have a wind down period that you can do other things in. You could take a shower, you do some meditation, do something relaxing to try and start calming things down. Because if you don't, you're, as I said, you're pushing that when you go asleep cycle later and later and later, and then you're having huge knock-on problems for your physical and mental health. So do yourself that favour. Dim the lights after 6 p.m. in the winter time, or once it starts to get dark in the summertime. You want to reduce as much of the background light on your devices as well. I know my grandson has a pair of these blue, the glasses for to kind of prevent the blue light coming on. You can use those. Most devices, your phone or other device do have settings where you can, switch down the blue light. Think about doing that, but also turn them off completely an hour before you actually want to be asleep. And as I said, go look for other things that you can do in that time that will be more relaxing for you. As I said, meditation, journaling, brain dumps, great for getting all that stuff out of your head, writing it down. Have the shower, lay out your clothes. You're going to be doing things anyway, just before you go to bed. A little tip on insomnia, or a word on insomnia really. If you think you have insomnia. Now, I have a lot of tips on sleep up there. I have about 11 tips on sleep, including one like this already up on the website. There's a video on it if you don't want to watch, if you don't want to read the blog. But if you've tried all the tips that I give you, if you've gone to your doctor and they've given you tips and you've used those and you genuinely, no, I've tried everything, doesn't work, I may have insomnia, you think you do, please go and check with your GP about it, get checked out in case it's from something else, in case it's from your medication or something. But if you think you have insomnia, then consider working with a therapist. Now, it needs to be somebody who's trained in cognitive behavioural therapy because cognitive behavioural therapy, can help with insomnia. There is a course that we can do as therapists with CBT specifically directed at insomnia. It's a very effective training program that we do, and then we come and we deliver it to people who need it. It really can help you recognize and identify different factors that can be contributing to your insomnia. It's going to give you a lot more information, proper, good, strong information. The therapist will be able to do that about sleep. It's going to help you set reasonable goals about how to improve your sleep quality. So consider that. So if you've had insomnia, there is a cognitive behavioral therapy specifically for insomnia. So do try and get somebody in your locality who does that particular type of course for people. If you want more tips on sleep, if you want worksheets that give you a step-by-step process, not just around sleep but on the basics, building blocks of self-care, then go and check out my book. It's in paperback format for people that have been asking for it. I've put it up there on Amazon, so you can buy it from there. You can also get PDF from my own website, or you can get a Kindle version as well. Do go check them out. They're there. I've had really good feedback on the workbook and on all my workbooks. There's a number of workbooks up there. Go check them out if you're interested. But as I said, there's a lot of tips on my website already about sleep. Just go into the website, Google them, and type in search, and you'll find them there. Try them one at a time. It's about making small, tiny steps to change what's going on. If you try and do it all too much, if you all try and do too much too quickly, it's setting yourself up for failure. Small, think baby steps. What's the smallest change I can make that's going to help have a knock-on effect that's going to help me improve my sleep, my mental health, my physical, whatever it is, just small basic steps that you can take. So I leave it there. As always, thank you for watching and listening. I'll leave the blog as always in the description below, and I will talk to you all next week. There's a new blog coming out on Monday, so do check that out.